middle class trap isn't about income. It's about identity. It's about conditioning. It's a mental cage wrapped in comfort, predictability, and fear of loss. It tells you to play it safe, go to school, get a job, pay your bills, and repeat until you die. But that model was built for survival, not for greatness. You weren't born to live in a box. You weren't created to live paycheck to paycheck with no room to breathe or dream. The middle-class mindset glorifies security over expansion. It celebrates average, praises mediocrity, and calls ambition a risk. But the truth is, comfort is the biggest risk. If you want to break free, you've got to first break the belief that playing it safe will keep you safe. It won't. It will keep you stuck. Middle-class thinking trains you to be reactive, not proactive. You wait for raises. You wait for government help. You wait for the economy to get better. But wealth builders don't wait, they create. They build, initiate, invest, and take control. Your job is not your ceiling. It's your current launch pad. Stop waiting for someone to give you permission to live big. You must recondition your brain to be solution-oriented. Break the pattern of blame. Stop saying, "That's just how it is." That's not truth, it's programming. Change what you expect of yourself. Expect more. Play offense, not defense. The game of life isn't won by those who avoid losing, it's won by those who play to win. Security is an illusion, and middle class living is built on it. A salary, health benefits, a 401k, these are fine tools. But they are not freedom. They are leashes if you rely on them too much. Because the moment something disrupts them, a recession, layoffs, inflation, you're vulnerable. True security doesn't come from a paycheck. It comes from capability. It comes from your ability to create, solve, serve, and adapt. The middle-class trap makes you forget how powerful you really are. It sedates you with convenience. But deep down, you know you were made for more. You feel it when your alarm clock screams louder than your dreams. You feel it every time you say, "Someday." That Sunday needs a deadline. The system teaches you how to earn just enough to survive, but not enough to escape. You're told debt is normal, that weekends are for recovery, not for building, that retirement is the finish line. But what if the entire model is broken? What if you could live free before 65? The middle class waits 40 years to enjoy life. But wealth isn't about waiting. It's about creating leverage. Financial freedom comes from ownership of assets, time, and direction. Own your mornings, own your investments, own your choices. Stop leasing your future to comfort. Start buying your freedom with action. Middle class values focus on what things cost. Wealth builders focus on what things are worth. There's a massive difference. The middle class mind says, "I can't afford that." The wealthy mind says, "How can I afford that?" One shuts the door, the other opens 100. Break free from small questions. Upgrade your internal language. Every time you repeat a limitation, you reinforce it. But every time you challenge it, you expand. Money doesn't come from fear. It comes from creativity, and creativity flows from courage. Be bold. Most people don't realize they're trapped because everyone around them is in the same prison. The middle class trap is socially acceptable. It's normalized. It feels responsible, even admirable. But what it really does is shrink your potential to fit inside society's expectations. If you want an extraordinary life, you have to stop living an ordinary script. That means breaking from the crowd. That means being misunderstood. That means choosing growth over approval. Don't live to impress, live to express. One of the biggest lies is that hard work guarantees success. That's middle-class thinking. The truth is, strategic, high-leverage work is what creates freedom. You can grind 80 hours a week and still be broke if you're not building something scalable. Use your energy wisely. Build systems, not just effort. Create value, not just hours. Don't just work hard, work smart. Then multiply it. Leverage is the new hustle. Break the chain of overwork by building wealth vehicles. Financial literacy is not a luxury, it's a necessity. The middle class avoids money conversations. They call it uncomfortable. But discomfort around money guarantees dependency. If you don't understand money, you'll always trade your time for it. And time is your most limited resource. Learn the language of wealth. Understand cash flow, assets, debt, taxes, and investing. The rules of the money game are not secrets. They're strategies. And they're available to anyone willing to learn. The middle class trap tells you to avoid risk. But the real risk is staying the same. Stagnation costs more than failure. When you try, you learn. When you fail, you adapt. But when you stay the same, you rot. Progress is the antidote to fear. It's better to fail forward than to freeze in place. Growth doesn't come from playing it safe. It comes from doing what scares you. It comes from saying yes before you're ready. Raise your standards. The middle class accepts just enough to get by, just enough to feel safe. But extraordinary lives are built on extraordinary standards. If you want to break free, you have to demand more from yourself, more courage, more creativity, more contribution. Don't accept mediocrity just because it's normal. Be the one who breaks the chain. Be the example your family has never seen. Rise so high that average can't reach you. The environment you're in matters. The middle class trap is reinforced by average conversations, average habits, and average goals. If you want to shift, upgrade your circle. Be around builders, dreamers, and doers. Proximity is power. Who you're around is who you become. Cut ties with people who normalize small thinking. Love them, but don't follow them. Surround yourself with people who challenge you, who call you out, who pull you up. That's how you rise. Breaking free means building multiple income streams. The middle class relies on one job, one paycheck, one source. That's fragile. That's dangerous. Wealth builders diversify. They build businesses, invest in stocks, own real estate, and create products. They don't put their future in the hands of one employer. Multiple streams mean multiple freedoms. Start with one. Build it. Then build another. Don't just trade ours, create engines. Ownership is key. The middle class rents everything: their homes, their time, their purpose. But ownership is where power lives. Own your future by creating value. Own your income by starting something. Own your beliefs by challenging them. Renters wait for permission. Owners make decisions. Shift from consumer to creator, from renter to ruler. You don't need to own everything, but you need to own your direction. Middle class comfort often hides deep dissatisfaction. You look successful on paper, but you feel empty inside. Why? Because the game you're playing doesn't match your soul. You were made for impact, not just income. You were made to create, to lead, to build. The moment you align your money with meaning, everything changes. Money by itself is boring, but money with purpose, that's power. You don't have to hate the middle class to rise beyond it. Be grateful for where you are, but don't stay there. Use it as a springboard. Use it as a fire. Let it teach you what you don't want so you can design what you do want. Growth isn't about rejecting your past. It's about transcending it. Respect the journey, but don't let it become your prison. Build habits that create wealth. The middle class builds habits that maintain comfort, but comfort doesn't scale. Habits are the compound interest of behavior. What you do daily is who you become permanently. Automate your investing. Schedule your learning. Review your goals weekly. Track your cash flow. Be intentional. Build a machine from habits. Discipline is freedom in disguise. Fear is the jailer of the middle class. Fear of failing, fear of judgment, fear of standing out. But fear is a story. Now you're the author. Rewrite it. Face it. Move through it. The fastest way to dissolve fear is with action. Motion creates emotion. When you act boldly, fear loses its grip. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's deciding something matters more. Celebrate progress, not perfection. The middle class mindset waits until everything is ready. But the wealthy mindset knows progress is messy. Start before you're ready. Launch before it's perfect. Iterate as you grow. You don't need to be perfect, you need to be in motion. Don't let perfectionism be your excuse for procrastination. Gratitude is the secret weapon, not for settling, but for fueling. The middle class trap says, be content. But true gratitude says, I appreciate what I have and I'm excited for what's coming. Gratitude multiplies everything. It shifts your state. It opens your mind. When you're grateful, you attract better results because you're operating from abundance, not fear. The final step, teach others. The best way to lock in a new level is to lead from it. Share what you're learning. Help others rise. The middle class competes. The wealthy collaborate. When you teach, you grow. When you give, you receive. Be the person who breaks generational limits. Inspire others not by what you see, but by what you live. That's legacy. That's freedom. That's how you break the trap and never go back.